Jack Carter leaned against the cool glass of the luxury jewelry boutique, his mind drifting as he absent-mindedly twirled a cigarette between his fingers. The bustling streets of the city felt like a world apart from the glimmering interior of Luxe Aesthetics, a store where dreams were forged in gold and adorned with the finest diamonds. Once, he had roamed these halls as a high-end private investigator, but now he was merely a shadow of his former self, lingering on the outskirts of a life that felt increasingly foreign to him. The boutique was a haven for the wealthy, its walls adorned with the shimmering creations of the city's elite jewelers. Jack's dark blue suit, slightly wrinkled and more worn than fashionable, felt out of place amidst the impeccably tailored outfits of the well-heeled patrons. He watched as elegantly dressed women clutched their designer handbags, their laughter blending with the soft music that floated through the air. Yet, behind their smiles, Jack sensed the tension of competition, the cutthroat nature of a world that thrived on glamour and deceit. It was an ordinary Tuesday afternoon when he first spotted her, a vision of elegance and charm that made the ordinary seem drab by comparison. Celeste Renard, a socialite with a reputation that preceded her, stepped inside the boutique, her presence illuminating the dimly lit space. Jack watched, intrigued by her poise, as she conversed animatedly with a sales assistant, her laughter ringing like a chime of silver bells. Celeste's deep auburn hair cascaded down her back, framing a face that could have graced the covers of magazines. Her emerald green dress hugged her figure perfectly, accentuating the grace with which she moved. Jack's heart raced as he took in her beauty, but he quickly chastised himself for letting personal feelings cloud his judgment. This was a world filled with superficial allure, and he had learned the hard way that appearances could be deceiving. But the moment shattered when the sharp scream of a woman pierced through the air, freezing the scene. Jack's instincts kicked in, and he rushed toward the source of the noise. As he pushed through the glass doors, he was met with chaos. The elegant boutique had transformed into a scene of horror. In the center of the store lay the lifeless body of Reginald Voss, the renowned jewelry designer known for his extravagant creations and tumultuous personal life. A jeweled dagger protruded from his back, glinting ominously under the boutique's lights, and Celeste stood frozen nearby, shock painted across her features. "Call the police," someone shouted, but Jack's mind was racing, piecing together the clues that danced just beyond his reach. He approached Celeste, who seemed oblivious to the commotion around her. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice steady despite the turmoil inside him. Her green eyes met his, filled with fear and uncertainty. I don't know what happened. I just came to look at the new collection." Jack felt a tug at his instincts. There was something more here, something hidden beneath the surface of her poised exterior. "Stay here. I'll find out what's going on." As he moved deeper into the scene, he realized that this was not just a murder, it was a gateway into a world filled with secrets and betrayal, and he was determined to uncover the truth. Over the next few days, Jack found himself entangled in the aftermath of the murder. The police investigation unfolded, but Jack felt a pull toward the case that he couldn't ignore. Celeste became a constant presence in his life as she sought answers and clarity amid the confusion. As he dug deeper into Reginald's life, Jack learned about the fierce competition surrounding the high-stakes jewelry industry. Reginald had made enemies, plenty of them. From disgruntled employees to jealous rivals, each interview painted a portrait of a man both adored and reviled. He met with Sarah, Reginald's former assistant, who spoke in hushed tones about the designer's erratic behavior leading up to his death. He was working on something big, something that could have changed everything, she revealed, her eyes darting nervously. Changed what? Jack pressed, intrigued. His new collection. It was supposed to debut next month, but there were whispers that someone was trying to steal his designs. Meanwhile, Jack's chemistry with Celeste grew. Their late-night conversations turned from professional inquiries to personal confessions, revealing the layers of pain and ambition that shaped their lives. Jack found himself captivated by her strength and vulnerability, and a spark ignited between them, a forbidden connection that felt as tantalizing as it was dangerous. But as the investigation progressed, shadows of doubt began to creep in. Celeste had her own secrets, ones that Jack couldn't quite put his finger on. A photograph of her and Reginald surfaced, sparking jealousy in Jack's heart, but he pushed those feelings aside as he focused on the case. With each lead, the web of deceit tightened. Jack uncovered a connection between Reginald and a rival designer, Eliza Hart, who had been vying for the top spot in the industry. She was known for her ruthless tactics and had a reputation for eliminating her competition. Jack couldn't shake the feeling that Celeste was somehow intertwined in this dangerous game. Was she merely a victim, or did she have deeper ties to Reginald's fate? Their relationship reached a tipping point one fateful evening. They stood together on the balcony of Jack's modest apartment, the city lights twinkling below. Celeste was pensive, her brow furrowed as she looked out over the skyline. "Jack," she began, her voice barely a whisper. "There's something I need to tell you." Before she could finish, Jack's phone buzzed with an urgent message. A lead had surfaced, and he felt a compulsion to follow it. "I need to go. I'll be back soon, I promise," he said, but the moment hung heavy between them. As Jack left, he couldn't shake the feeling that their fragile connection was about to be tested in ways he never anticipated. The following day, Jack found himself at a posh gallery opening, drawn there by whispers of illicit deals and stolen designs. The atmosphere was electric with anticipation, and he could feel the tension in the air as he navigated through the crowd. Then he spotted Celeste, her radiant smile now a mask hiding her turmoil. "Jack," she called out, but he was preoccupied, scanning the room for clues. As he approached her, the tension was palpable. "Did you know Reginald was involved in something shady?" Jack asked, his tone urgent. "I heard rumors about him being mixed up with Eliza Hart." Celeste stiffened, her expression unreadable. "I didn't know anything about that," she replied, but Jack could sense her unease. "Celeste, you need to be honest with me. I can help you, but I can't do it if you're hiding things," he implored, searching her eyes for the truth. Suddenly, a commotion erupted on the other side of the gallery. Jack's instincts kicked in, and he rushed toward the sound. There, amidst the chaos, was Eliza Hart, her face pale and wild, as she stumbled away from a confrontation with another designer. "Stay back. You don't know what you're dealing with," Eliza shouted, her voice breaking. Jack felt a chill run down his spine. As he turned to find Celeste, she had vanished from his side, leaving only an uneasy emptiness behind. Later that night, he returned to his apartment, his mind racing with thoughts of Celeste and the web of deceit he had unwound. Just as he settled into bed, his phone buzzed again, an anonymous message that sent his heart racing. "You're getting too close, Jack. Back off, or you'll regret it." With a sense of dread pooling in his stomach, he realized that he was on the verge of uncovering something monumental, but it was costing him more than he had bargained for. The next morning, Jack met Celeste for coffee, tension heavy in the air. "You need to tell me the truth," he said, his voice firm but tinged with desperation. "Are you involved in this?" She hesitated, then met his gaze with a fierce intensity. "I had my reasons for keeping things from you, Jack. Reginald and we were partners, in more ways than one. But I didn't kill him." Jack's heart raced. "Then who did?" he pressed, feeling the weight of their unspoken connection. Before she could respond, a shadow loomed over their table, a figure that sent a shiver down Jack's spine. It was a detective from the local precinct, eyes narrowed and voice cold. "Mr. Carter, I need to speak with you. Now." With a sinking feeling, Jack followed the detective outside, his heart pounding. "We have a problem," the detective said, pulling him aside. "You're being considered a suspect in Reginald Voss's murder." "What?" Jack exclaimed, incredulous. "I didn't kill anyone. I'm trying to help." "Then you need to stop digging. People don't like it when you get too close to the truth," the detective warned, his eyes narrowing. "Especially not in this industry." As Jack returned to the cafe, Celeste was gone, leaving behind only the remnants of their shattered trust. His instincts screamed at him to find her, to make her understand that he believed in her innocence, but first, he had to uncover the truth behind Reginald's death. Over the next few days, Jack raced against time. He uncovered a conspiracy involving Eliza and a plan to sabotage Reginald's new collection, which held the key to his legacy. It became clear that someone had wanted him out of the way, but who had the most to gain? Desperation set in as Jack realized he was being watched. A dark car followed him through the streets, and threats loomed around every corner. He needed to get to Celeste before it was too late. Jack finally tracked her down at a hidden gala held in honor of Reginald's memory. Dressed in black, Celeste stood alone, lost in thought. Jack approached cautiously, his heart racing. "Celeste," he breathed, taking her hand. "We need to talk. I know who killed Reginald." Her eyes widened, a mix of fear and hope. "What? Who?" "It's Eliza. She wanted to steal his designs and take him down. She knew he was about to unveil something huge, and she couldn't let that happen," he explained urgently. Celeste shook her head, tears glistening in her eyes. "I should have told you the truth. Reginald was my mentor, and I was caught up in the rivalry. I didn't want to drag you into this." Before Jack could respond, a commotion erupted at the entrance. Eliza stood there, a figure of chaos, and her eyes locked onto Jack with a predatory gleam. "You think you know everything, don't you, Carter?" she spat. "You have no idea what you're up against." Jack stepped protectively in front of Celeste, adrenaline coursing through his veins. "I know enough, Eliza. You're not going to get away with this. Is that so?" she sneered, a manic smile playing at the corners of her lips. "I've already won. You're just too late to realize it." As the crowd gasped, Jack felt the tension snap, a storm brewing around them. In that moment, he knew he had to confront Eliza and bring her to justice, not just for Reginald but for Celeste's sake. In the days that followed, Jack and Celeste worked together, uncovering the layers of deception woven into Reginald's life and the cutthroat world of high fashion. They gathered evidence and allies, piecing together a case that would expose Eliza's machinations. The final confrontation came on the night of Reginald's posthumous collection reveal. A lavish affair filled with designers, influencers, and industry insiders. Jack and Celeste were ready, the tension palpable as they cornered Eliza backstage. "You thought you could hide behind your lies and scheming, Eliza," Jack said, his voice steady. "But the truth always finds a way." Eliza laughed, a chilling sound that echoed through the hall. "You're a fool, Carter. This industry thrives on deceit. You think you can change that?" Before she could slip away, Celeste stepped forward, her voice fierce. "Not anymore. We'll make sure you pay for what you've done." In a dramatic twist, Eliza's facade crumbled as the evidence of her guilt was revealed to the world. The police arrested her, and the truth of Reginald's murder spilled into the open, shaking the foundations of the fashion industry. As the dust settled, Jack found himself standing in the glow of the city lights with Celeste by his side. Their journey had forged a bond that transcended the chaos, a connection grounded in honesty and resilience. "I'm glad we made it through," Celeste said softly, her eyes reflecting a newfound strength. "I couldn't have done this without you." Jack smiled, the weight of their past finally lifting. "Together, we can face anything." In the weeks that followed, Jack and Celeste explored their newfound partnership, both in business and in life. The shadows of the past lingered, but they were ready to embrace the future, a future that sparkled with the promise of new beginnings.